Okay. All right. It is now 7 o'clock. Hello. My name is Margaret. I work for the library. I work as the collections manager for the Haviland Heidegger Historical Collection. You might also know me from doing Story Hour on Friday mornings for the library. I also happen to be Steve Stan's daughter. So we're going to get going. As we start the performance, we're going to ask that you turn your video off. It will probably increase your chances of having a good solid stream, nothing else competing with your Wi-Fi. If you would like to sorry about that. We have to mute people as they come in. I'm going to give people a few more minutes to join in. I'm sure you understand people are still figuring this out, coming in. We actually do this during story time. We give people a few minutes to get the link in and get going. Once we get started, Paul Rubio is going to share his screen. And you might, the boxes still appear on the side of your screen. If you would like to get rid of those, the easy way to do it is when we go into, there'll be a green bar at the top of your screen saying Paul Rubio is now screen sharing. Next to that, it will say view options. Click on that, and the section option on that list will turn off the sidebar. So you don't have to see that while watching the performance. And once again, thank you to everyone for coming out for our first virtual Music in the Garden. We're so very excited that we were able to pull this together with the help of the Boomers. Especially want to shout out Paul Rubio for helping string all of these videos together. And stick around for after the performance. It's going to be about an hour long. There will be a brief question, answer, comment session moderated by myself. So if you have questions or comments throughout the performance, put them into that chat bar. I'll be watching that. And when the performance is done, we'll go through some of those. All right, I think just maybe 1 or 2 more minutes to let people get in on this call, and we'll get going.
Hi, Margaret. Thank you very much. I apologize for that repeating and echoing. That was my fault. I finally figured out what was going on. So thank you for your patience, everybody. We're about to get started. And again, we hope you enjoy the concert. We're going to mute everybody's cameras, and actually you can mute yourself if you're able to do that. That would be great. And then we can go ahead and get started. Margaret, I don't know. You want to take just one? It was kind of confusing to hear everybody. You want to just do it again?
And right now we have about 36 people on. Over 50 people sent me an email asking for this link. So I'll give one more explanation of how to get rid of the sidebar once Paul shares his screen, and hopefully by then we'll have a few more people on. We're also streaming to the Boomers YouTube page, so if anything happens with your Zoom, you can try checking in there. So once Paul shares his screen so you can view the performance, there's going to be a green bar at the top of your screen if you're on a computer. And that will say Paul Rubio is sharing his screen. Right next to that is going to be a little black box that says View Options. You're going to click on that. And the second option down on that list will turn off the sidebar that has everybody's videos, so you don't have to see that while also watching the performance. And if you're having a little bit of difficulties, we'll try to help as much as possible, but that's the basics of it. I want to say a huge thank you to, once again, to the Boomers, also to our sponsors for this year's Music in the Garden. As always, Arts Mid-Hudson is a huge sponsor of this event. This is our 10th annual Music in the Garden. It's hard to believe it's already been a decade of this. So Arts Mid-Hudson, Stewart's Shops, Salisbury Bank, Riverside, First Care Highland. I think that's it. I hope I didn't miss anyone. But thank you to our sponsors who without we would not be able to put on this event every year, especially this year.
So, Margaret, I'm going to go ahead and start the screen share, and then I'm going to pause it for a moment. I'm going to wait for a moment so people can see and maybe play around a little bit. Just give them a few minutes before I start it, just a little bit of time.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and get started with the concert.
Sounds good.
All right.
See you in an hour.
All right.
Hey, nice to see everybody, even though it's virtual. We are very disappointed in many ways that we cannot have this year's 2020 Music in the Garden live, but here we are in the garden, and a great performance has been done here, which you will shortly see. So again, like to welcome you to our real garden, where we get the name from, Music in the Garden, which is the Vera Rushforth Reading Garden. And first thing I'd like to do is thank our sponsors for making this all possible, and that would be Arts Mid-Hudson with the grant. They have been so wonderful over the years, and again, we're so appreciative that they have funded us again. Plus a wonderful bank, Salisbury or Riverside Bank here in New Paltz, that has been so supportive over the years. And also this year, First Care of Highland. So we would really like to thank them. I also would like to thank our former board member, past president Linda Wells, and our wonderful current person on our staff, Bevan Dungan, for all their work in working on the grants and working in getting the support from our sponsors. And the two of them have put in a lot of time and deserve it. Thank you. And that's about all I'm going to say, except for next year we hope to have you back in the garden. We don't know. Here's my mask. I'm not wearing it right now, but we keep these things with us. The library is available again for you to come inside and visit a few at a time, so please do that. And I'm going to turn this over to our wonderful staff member, Margaret Stan, who is with our Haviland Hydrated History Collection and also with the regular library. And if you have not viewed her story times on Friday that we do virtually, you must see at least one of them. So without further ado, here's Margaret, and thank you for attending online here. So take care.
Hello, thank you, John. As you said, my name is Margaret. I'm the collections manager for the Haviland Hygrid Historical Collection, and you might also know me from virtual storytime with Elting Memorial Library. I'm here to introduce the group you're going to hear tonight, Betty and the Baby Boomers. You'll be hearing from Jean Valla McAvoy, Betty Boomer, the namesake, Paul Rubio, Robert Bard, and Steve Stan, who you might have actually met on virtual storytime. He's my dad. The Boomers have been performing together for 30 plus years, up and down the Hudson Valley, and even as far away as Ireland. Their performance tonight will be focusing on the environment and history of the Hudson, covering a 100-year span to coincide with the library's 100 years at 93 Main Street, this location. Following this performance, there will be a brief question and answer session with the members of the group, so I hope you'll stick around for that with your questions or thoughts about the performance, and enjoy the show. See ya.
If you've ever spent time on the river, Jerry Rasmussen's song, Living on the River, will surely awaken your memories. Even during extreme summer heat, I get a chill when I sing, walking down the hill on a winter's night to go skating on the river in the cold moonlight. Suddenly, the warm smile and sparkling eyes of Cornelius Lynch greet me at that old wood stove. Some of us still feel the rocking of the boat, even when we're standing on firm land. We carry the river's sunrises, sunsets, smells, and weather with us. River time has its own pace, a quiet drift down the river, or worry beads crashing to the deck of the Clearwater as a rogue storm parts the jaws of the gaff overhead. No time for fear. Your captain is competent, and you have sails to drop and passengers to get below. The song's images open the floodgates. I hear the chatter of the kingfisher or the red-winged blackbird as the tail and head of the eagle flash white overhead. Schools of tiny catfish scatter as the big carp cavort in the shallows. A beaver slaps a warning, and the turtle drops from a log. Night falls, and crayfish and raccoon dance. I dedicate this song to all who find excitement or joy on the river's edge, to the people past and present who fed their families from the bounty of the river, the Native American oyster gatherers, the sturgeon, striper, crab, and shad fisher people, the eel researchers, and students and scientists who share their precious data. Pete Seeger's litter pickers. May we all continue to care and protect the waters that have seeped into our souls and flow out through our hearts. Live on the river.
One, two, you know what to do.
Down around the bend where the blackbird sings, over by the fountain there's a crystal spring. Back in the shallow where the watercress grows, sweet spring water runs clear and cold. Living on the river was nice and easy. People on the river just take their time. Wind in the summer was warm and breezy. Wind in the winter it cut like iron. Down around the dam by the railroad bridge, there's wind in the shallow where the crayfish live. Over by the trees where the catfish bite, they'll be swimming in a skillet before tonight. Living on the river was nice and easy. People on the river just take their time. Wind in the summer was warm and breezy. Wind in the winter it cut like iron. Walking down the hill on a winter's night to go skating on the river in the cold moonlight. There's an old wood stove, hardwood floor. You can sit and take it easy while your feet get warm. Living on the river was nice and easy. People on the river just take their time. Wind in the summer was warm and breezy. Wind in the winter it cut like iron. Up in the morning at 4 o'clock, I'll meet you at the landing at Lynch's dock. Drifting down the river till the sun comes up, drinking hot black coffee from an old tin cup. Living on the river was nice and easy. People on the river Wind in the summer was warm and breezy. Wind in the winter it cut like iron. January, February, take your pick. Ice on the river gets mighty thick. Get out the ice boat, it's time for play. Forget about work until another day. Living on the river was nice and easy. People on the river just take their time. Wind in the summer was warm and breezy. Wind in the winter it cut like iron. Living on the river was nice and easy. People on the river just take their time.
Nice verse, Betty.
Forget about
Awesome,
working.
man.
That was a song called Living on the River by Jerry Rasmussen. And it introduces the first set of songs we're going to do because they're all about the river. By the way, you're going to hear noise in the background, traffic noise, motorcycles, trucks, cars, maybe a few horns now and then. But that's the way it is when you go to a concert in the library here at the garden here at the Elting Library. So we hope you'll listen past that to the music itself. Well, anyway, these first few songs about the Hudson River are really a big part of the Boomers' repertoire. We got together because of work on the Hudson River. And the Hudson is central to the identity of this area. It was a way of shipping goods to market. It was a place it was a pantry, a place to catch fish and feed your family. And it was once actually connected directly to New Paltz. The New Paltz landing existed when New Paltz itself extended all the way over to where Highland is now. And Highland was part of New Paltz until 1845. But during the period that we're going to focus on today, the last 100 years of the library's history, when it's been in this building here on Main Street, we're going to do some songs from that period of history and not get way back to the old days. The first song we're going to do in this set is by our songwriter Gene Valamacovoy. It's called Down by the River. It's a song that was picked up by Pete Seeger and recorded on a Grammy-winning album by him with the Rivertown Kids in Beacon. The second song is an example of the folk process in action, the people taking a song and changing it over time. It was written by a fellow named Nick Placius. Then a Hudson River singer named Dan Einbender got a hold of it, and he changed a lot of it. And finally, we took a hold of it, and we added some words and a new arrangement, and came up with a little bit different take on the song. And finally, you're going to hear one of our favorite songs, Back Bay by Gene Valamacovoy, and we'll actually include a little introduction from that with the video of that song. I hope you enjoy it.
I'll meet you down by the river, down by the river, down by the river, to see what we can see. Down by the river, by the Hudson River, down by the river, that's where I want to be. You may be feeling cramped and crowded, you may be feeling restless and bored. I'm not pleased to know what heals you. Leave you refreshed and your mind restored. Meet you down by the river, down by the river, down by the river, to see what we can see. Down by the river, down by the Hudson River, down by the river, that's where I want to be. You never know what you might find there. You never know what the tide will bring. But I know you'll find peace of mind there. Something about it makes me want to sing. I'll meet you down by the river, down by the river, down by the river, to see what we can see. Down by the river, down by the mighty Hudson River, down by the river, that's where I want to be. Just make your way down to the water. That river will bring the world to your feet. Might be something washed down from the mountains and fresh right up from on the ocean deep. I'll meet you down by the river, down by the river, down by the river, to see what we can see. Down by the river, down by the mighty Hudson River, down by the river, that's where I want to be. Once we got careless about our river, let it fill up with pollution and trash. Now we're trying hard to pretend. We're trying hard to make sure that our river will last. We'll meet you down by the river, down by the river, down by the river, to see what we can see. Down by the river, down by the mighty Hudson River, down by the river, that's where I want to be. We'll meet you down by the river, down by the river, down by the river, to see what we can see. Down by the river, just one step of some river, down by the river, that's where I want to be. Down by the river, that's where I want to be. Down by the river, that's where
along the strand. There was shad, oysters and caviar, served on steamboats fit to beat the band. Dock Street, Water Street, River Road, the names still linger in city and town. But we turned our backside on the river. Time to turn the situation around. You can sing it from the bridge, you can sing it from the shore, you can sing it from the slip clear water, but sing it from your heart, you'll never know till you try. You can sing it all alone, you can sing it with a friend, you can take it from the top, you can make it to the end, just might help somebody see. Bottom of the river again, oh yeah, bottom of the river again. There's rag to wet your Sunday shoes, rag to use when you got the blues, rag powder and baby southern sides. There's rag for the kitchen and one for the hall, a ragtime tune on an old guitar, rag to wipe those tear-ups from your eyes. Now listen to the river, she's telling you she needs some of that ragtime too. She's waiting patiently for all the rest of us to agree. She's got acid rain speaking down like tears, PCBs behind her ears, power plants in places she can't reach. Gonna sing this old-time river song to every mudsucker and ever wrong, till we clean that winding stream from beach to beach. You can sing it from the bridge, you can sing it from the shore, you can sing it from the slip clear water, but sing it from your heart, you'll never know till you try. You can't sing it all alone, you can sing it with a friend, you can take it from the top and you make it to the end, just might help somebody see. Bottom of the river again, oh yeah, bottom of the river again. From the bridge, you can sing it from the shore, you can sing it from the slip clear water, but sing it from your heart, you'll never know till you try. You can't sing it all alone, you can sing it with a friend, you take it from the top and you make it to the end, just might help somebody see. Bottom of the river again, oh yeah, bottom of the river again, oh yeah, bottom of the river again.
muddy bottom of the Hudson River again. Oh yeah.
This is the place that inspired my song, Back Bay. This is where I go when I shut my eyes while I'm singing. It's a place of peace and refuge for me, a place away from the bustle of people. And it's been this way for the last 100 years. But ironically, this place was pretty much caused by people after the railroad came through in the mid-1800s and mostly cut the cove off of the tidal influences of the river. And sadly, this place of natural beauty and richness, what I consider the jewel of the Hudson tidal marshes, can be destroyed by people as climate change caused sea level rise slowly drowns the marsh, where it backs up against cliffs and can't retreat further inland. But the choice is ours. It's in our hands. Give me the quiet water. Give me the Back Bay. Give me a good excuse to slip the strangle noose of a workday. Oh, my soul is free, no one to bother me on the Back Bay. Don't want your noisy engine, don't want the wind in my hair. Give me an old canoe, a paddle, light and true, they will take me where the heron waits for the tide and fate to bring her dinner there. Give me the quiet water, give me the Back Bay. I feel the need to ride the changes of the tide in the worst way. Oh, I do believe I feel the river breathe on the Back Bay. Oh, you can keep the channel, you've got places to go. The river rushing by, you're living on the fly. I will take things slowly. I don't mind if I fall behind in the ebb and flow. We need that quiet water. We need the Back Bay. A buffer from the storm, the place where life is born, where the cattails sway. The river's health is in the secret wealth of the Back Bay. Give me the quiet water, rock me in the cradle of the Back Bay. We need that quiet water, share it with the eagle and the osprey. Cherish the quiet water of the Back Bay. Cherish the quiet water of the Back Bay. Cherish the quiet water of the Back Bay. The quiet water, share it with the eagle. We need the Back Bay and the osprey. Cherish the quiet water of the Back Bay. Cherish the quiet water of the Back Bay. Cherish fish the quiet water of the back bay.
Well, I hope you enjoyed those songs. We're going to take leave of the river for a couple of songs now. We're going to come into apple country. And the first song we're going to do in this next set is actually, again, by Gene Valli-McAvoy, and it's called the Apple Pressing Song. And if you listen, you'll hear the cadence of the turning of an old-fashioned apple press, the handle going round and round, and the gears grinding up the apples. And then, of course, we press them to make cider. And Gene did this with kids for many years and used this song in that work with the children as they turn the apple press. You might even find yourself singing along on this one. The second song was written by a Hudson Valley apple farmer, someone who lived right here in Ulster County, as a matter of fact, and I'll say more about that when we get to that song. The third song will be introduced and sung by Paul Rubio, and it takes us back to the World War when the shipyards along the Rondout Creek actually had a role to play in making minesweepers for the war effort. Paul will tell you more about that and his connection to that. Hope you enjoy them.
The boomers have been pressing apples here in Paul and Vera's driveway for almost 30 years, thanks to Paul's vintage apple press and the Hudson Valley's bounty of apples. Ever since the Dutch brought the first cultivated apple seeds to the valley in the 1600s, we've been a hotbed of apple production. And starting with Louis Du Bois, founder of New Paltz, also in the 1600s, we've produced hundreds and hundreds of American varieties of apple. This was a great place to be an apple lover. The last 100 years have seen twists and turns to the story of apples in the Hudson Valley. Prior to 1920, both what we call hard cider production and table-eating apples were big business. But 1920 brought the Prohibition, which shut down the hard cider industry. And by the time it was over in 1933, beer replaced cider in popularity for Americans. Oh, the days are warm, the nights are crisp. Turn, turn the apple press. Of all the year, this time is best. And oh, how fine are the apples. The lakes are misty in the morn. Turn, turn the apple press. The ghost of summer lingers on, and oh, how fine are the apples. The geese are flying overhead. Turn, turn the apple press. They call to us that summer's dead, and oh, how fine are the apples. But never mind that summer's lost. Turn, turn the apple press. Harvest comes with autumn's frost, and oh, how fine are the apples. The trees are bending with their weight. Turn, turn the apple press. We'll pick them clean to make them straight, and oh, how fine are the apples. And when we've picked and cut and squeezed, turn, turn the apple press. We'll share our nectar with the bees, and oh, how fine are the apples. And when bees and men have drunk their fill, turn, turn the apple press. We'll feel the warmth of summer still. And oh, how fine are the apples. And when we pick and cut and squeeze, turn, turn the apple press. We'll share our nectar with the bees, and oh, how fine are the apples. And when bees and all have drunk their fill, turn, turn the apple press. We'll feel the warmth of summer still. And oh, how fine are the apples.
Okay, we're going to do a song now by a local person, a fellow named Les Rice. He was an apple farmer here in the Hudson Valley, here in Ulster County, as a matter of fact. He was very active in the Farmers Union at that time. This was back around the late 1940s, and he wrote a song that's been done around the country now called The Banks of Marble. I've traveled around this country from shore to shining shore, and it really made me wonder all the things I heard and saw. But the banks are made of marble, with a guard at every door, and the vaults are stuffed with silver that the workers make for. I've seen those dusty miners just a plowing sod and loam, and I heard the auction hammer just a knocking down his hole. And the banks are made of marble, with a guard at every door, and the vaults are stuffed with silver that the farmers wait for. I've seen the idle seamen standing idly by the shore, and I heard their bosses saying, got no word for you no more. But the banks are made of marble, with a guard at every door, and the vaults are stuffed with silver that the seaman's wait for. I've seen those weary miners brushing coal dust off their back, and I heard their children crying, got no coal to heat their shack. But the banks are made of marble, with a guard at every door, and the vaults are stuffed with silver that the mines wait for. Well, I've seen my brothers working throughout this mighty land, and I pray we'll get together and together make our stand. Then we'll hold those banks of marble, with a guard at every door, and we'll share those vaults of silver that the workers wait for.
This next tune is by Woody Guthrie, and when I came to the Hudson Valley, my neighbor Gus, I met my neighbor Gus. My neighbor Gus was a Swede. He came to the U.S. in the 30s, And as a young man, he worked in the shipyard in Kingston. He made boats, and then joined the Merchant Marine and went on sailing out into the North Atlantic. And this tune is called Reuben James. It's about what happened in the North Atlantic, and we hope you enjoy and sing along. A 1, 2, 3. Have you heard of a ship called the Good Reuben James? Manned by hard-fighting men, both of honor and fame. She flew the stars and stripes from the land of the free, but tonight she's in her grave at the bottom of the sea. Tell me, what were their names? Tell me, what were their names? Did you have a friend on the Reuben James? What were their names? What were their names? Did you have a friend on the Reuben James? Was there in the dark of that uncertain night that they watched for the U-boats and waited for the fight? And the wine and the rock and the great explosion roared, she laid that Reuben James on the cold ocean floor. Tell me, what were their names? Tell me, what were their names? Did you have a friend on the Reuben James? What were their names? Tell me, what were their names? Did you have a friend on the Reuben James? 100 men went down to their dark, watery grave. When that good ship went down, only 44 were saved. Was the last day of October when they saved that 44 in the cold, icy waters of that cold Iceland shore. Tell me, what were their names? Tell me, what were their names? Did you have a friend on the Reuben James? What were their names? Tell me, what were their names? Did you have a friend on the Reuben James? Many years have passed since those brave men are gone, and those cold icy waters are so still and calm. Now many years have passed, still I wonder why the worst of them must fight and the best of us must die. Tell me, what were their names? Tell me, what were their names? Did you have a friend on the Reuben James? What were their names? Tell me, what were their names? Did you have a friend on the Reuben James? What were their names? Tell me, what were their names? Did you have a friend on the Reuben James? What were their names? Tell me, what were their names? Did you have a friend on the Reuben James?
For the next group of 4 songs, we're going to return to the river and to the theme of many of Betty and the Baby Boomers songs. We all have been involved in environmental education over the years. Some of us have made careers out of it. And so we're going to do some songs about the environment and the need to protect it. They'll focus in large part on the river, but they have a more general meaning as well. The first song is one that Betty will introduce, so I'll say no more about that one. The second one is a song by Gene about shad, and many of you may remember the days when you could drive along Route 9W in Marlboro or in Lloyd and see signs saying fresh shad for sale, fresh shad roe, and a great spring meal was fresh shad roe, new potatoes, and asparagus. Gene will say more about the song when we get to that one. And then we're going to do a couple of songs actually by Pete Seeger. We really couldn't do a concert like this without doing songs by Pete. He was an inspiration to all of us, and of course, nobody wrote finer songs about the Hudson than Pete did. And so we're going to do a couple of those, one specifically about the Hudson, called Sailing Up My Dirty Stream, and the other one a more general song that has a line that says it's darkest before the dawn. And we've thought that this particular song really applied to the times we're in. Hope you enjoy these.
Well, here's a great song that educators up and down the Hudson River sing all the time and teach it to children. And we hope to teach it, that you'll learn it from this also. It was written by Bob Breed and a bunch of school children, I believe, in California. And it's called Animals Need Water. And the chorus goes, animals need water, people need it too. Keep it clean for me, and I'll keep it clean for you. Animals need water, people need it too. Keep it clean for me, and I'll keep it clean for you. Well, there's water, water everywhere, but not a drop to spare. Water in the ground, water in the air. Though it does evaporate, it doesn't go away. Rains onto the mountaintop, flows out into the bay. Animals need water, people need it too. Keep it clean for me, and I'll keep it clean for you. Animals need water, people need it too. Keep it clean for me, and I'll keep it clean for you. Well, you can take a shower in it, you can wash your hair. You should wash your clothes, wash your teddy bear. Really clean water is getting mighty rare. So if we want to save it, people have to care. Animals need water, people need it too. Keep it clean for me, and I'll keep it clean for you. Animals need water, people need it too. Keep it clean for me, and I'll keep it clean for you. Well, water is rain, water is a flood, water turns dirt into mud. Sometimes water's blue, sometimes water's green, sometimes water's dirty, but we want water clean. Animals need water, people need it too. Keep it clean for me, and I'll keep it clean for you. Animals need water, people need it too. Keep it clean for me, and I'll keep it clean for you. Well, that river's filling up with lots of stuff like PCBs. Gets into the fish, and then in you and me. If we get too much of it, we could wind up in bed. And if we get too much of it, well, we could wind up dead. Animals need water, people need it too. Keep it clean for me, and I'll keep it clean for you. Animals need water, people need it too. Keep it clean for me, and I'll keep it clean for you. Animals need water, people need it too. Keep it clean for me, and I'll keep it clean for you. Shad have been important to the people of the Hudson Valley for thousands of years, returning to the Hudson River to spawn in the winter-hungry days of spring. And as the human population swelled, the shad population went through a series of declines and recoveries. But their story of the last 100 years is a troubling one, and the best we can hope is that the end is still uncertain. By 1920, shad were in their worst decline ever. And the numbers rebounded to the extent that 1942 saw the biggest haul ever recorded. Of course, we realize now that was part of the problem. But they went through a decline, and people thought, well, the shad will recover. They always have, they always will. And they did in the 1950s, but the rebound was less than usual. And then real declines started in the 1960s and continued with little bumps up in the 80s, but continued to drop till by the year 2000, the numbers of shad were barely recordable.
And still, it took 10 years for the commercial fishery to be closed in 2010. Will that be enough to save the shad? We don't know. There are other factors: water quality, water temperature, invasive species impacts, offshore fishing. We could lose the shad forever. Whatever happens, though, this song will remember that. The year has turned. The sun is higher every day. The ground is soft. The snow has melted all away. A tide of green has come to wash over the land, and our thoughts turn to the river. The sap is rising in the tree. Shad run up from the sea. Once the river ran with silver. We thought it was forever. The buds still swell, and green returns to please the eye. The day's still warm, and birds still sing to fill the sky. The rain still falls, and thunder rumbles in our dreams. But there are changes in the river. The sap still rises in the tree, but fewer shad come from the sea. Once the river ran with silver. We thought it was forever. We turned our backs. We didn't read the river right. We watched the shad just disappear before our sight. We never dreamed that they might ever fail to run. Our thoughts strayed from the river. The sap still rises in the tree, but fewer shad run out to sea. Once the river ran with silver. We thought it was forever. What did we do to cause the shad such harm? What will it take to see their numbers rise again? Is it too late to mend the damage that's been done? We must take care of the river. The sap will rise up in the tree, but the shad could cease to be. Once the river ran with silver. We thought it was forever. The stakes are higher every day, but we can choose to change the price we want to pay if we stand guard and let nature find its way. We just might heal the river. The sap will rise up in the tree. May shad revive and run to sea. Once the river ran with silver. We thought it was forever. Once the river ran with silver. We thought it was forever.
someday, though maybe not this year, my Hudson River will once again run clear. It starts high in the mountains of the north, crystal clear, and icy trickles forth. Just one floating wrapper of chewing gum, dropped by some hikers to warn of things to come. Sailing up my dirty stream, still I love it, and I'll keep the dream that someday, though maybe not this year, my Hudson River will once again run clear. At Hudson Falls, 5,000 honest hands working daily at the GE plants. 5,000 gallons wasted day. Why should we do it any other way? And we sing sailing up my dirty stream, still I love it, and I'll keep the dream that someday, though maybe not this year, my Hudson River will once again run clear. Down the valley, 1 million toilet chains, find my Hudson a convenient place to drain. Each town and village say, who, me? Do you think that sewage treatment plants are free? And we sing sailing up my dirty stream, still I love it, and I'll keep the dream that someday, though maybe not this year, my Hudson River will once again run clear. In the ocean they say the water's clear. Oh, but I live on the river here, halfway between the mountains and the sea. Tacking to and fro, this thought returns to me. And we sing sailing up my dirty stream, still I love it, and I'll keep the dream that someday, though maybe not this year, my Hudson River will once again run clear. Sailing up my dirty stream, still I love it, and I'll keep the dream that someday, though maybe not this year, my Hudson River will once again run clear. My Hudson River will once again run clear. My Hudson River and my country will run clear.
This one is another one of Pete's favorite, and it's called Quite Early Morning, and I'm going to give it a try, and you can help us sing it. That's a pretty easy chorus. Don't you know it's darkened before the dawn? That thought keeps me moving on.
song
of joy and
we
sorrow.
still can have.
We still can have
Tomorrow.
singing tomorrow.
Well, we're down to the last song of this concert. It's a song called Island Earth. It really sums up many of the messages that we've tried to get across in our music. But before we do that, we'd like to thank you all for tuning in, signing on, Zooming with us, and invite you, and also to thank the library for having us. It's been quite an experience to put this together. So thanks to the staff here for getting the word out and making us feel so welcome at the library while we put this together. And finally, if you're interested, hang on after the concert because the Boomers will be on live to answer your questions about our music and about some of the themes that we've covered in these songs. Again, thanks for coming.
Calling all dreamers and optimistic fools. Don't let go of your dreams. Make it now, make it all come true. If you believe in a brighter day, I know we can find our way to this island in a starry ocean. Poetry in motion. This island earth, spinning like a dancer. Gravity is the answer. Rendezvous in the blue. This island earth. I don't know what's in store today. We can spread our wings, we can soar away. We can go like a dinosaur, they say. The choice is ours to make. It only seems like this to me. We can wake up one day and be history, or stick around to unravel the mystery of how we came to be. On this island, in a starry ocean, poetry in motion. This island earth, beautiful oasis for all human races. The only home that we know, this island earth. I know we can touch the stars one day, kick up the dust on Mars someday, or trip the light on the Milky Way. We've got to find our way. If you're looking for a miracle, open your eyes. There was one this morning just about sunrise. Dawn came breaking like a wave on the sea. It's there for you and me. Calling all dreamers and optimistic fools. Don't let go of your dreams. Make it now, make it all come true. If you believe in a brighter day, I know we can find our way to this island in a starry ocean. Poetry in motion. This island earth, spinning like a dancer. Gravity is the answer. Rendezvous in the blue. This island earth, rendezvous with the moon. This island earth, the only home that we know. This island earth.
If you'd like to express anything, you can use the reactions bar at the bottom and click on there. There's a little applause button. There you go. Everybody's got it.
I'm gonna, you can always put comments and questions in the chat. We've gotten a few during the performance. And I'm gonna turn on the boomers' mic so they can start answering some of them. All right, let's turn on, all right. Well, actually, let's introduce the boomers. That is something we did not do at the beginning of this. So I'm gonna start with Paul, who already has his mic on. Can you give a shout, Paul?
Hi, I'm Paul Rubio, and I'm one responsible for putting the final pieces together in the video. Robert Bard did much of the audio, or all of the audio actually, along with me, but it's a pleasure to do this. And I just want to say, also, before I forget, that there were others who took the video. Margaret Stan was very instrumental in taking video, and also my daughter Anna Rubio took a lot of video as well. And Bernard Sanders, from not the Bernie Sanders you know, but Bernard Sanders, German sound engineer, took the video when we were in Ireland. And there were others as well. Lynn Cherry took the video of us at Ashokan, and also the Apple pressing. So lots of people to thank for this who did a wonderful job with it.
All right, next up, I'm going to introduce, sorry, I have to turn my light on. I'm going to introduce Robert. Robert, can you give a shout out?
Hi, everybody. Great to see you all. And I have an echo. I'm not sure why. Great to see everybody. And this was really different to have this experience. But it really, it was interesting. I felt the people. It was like having an audience in a way. I felt like there was an energy in the energy in the garden. I kind of felt it. So it was very sweet to be with you all. Thank you.
And thank you to Robert. Robert has been helping us organize Music in the Garden. Gosh, have you been doing it all 10 years or?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and next up on my list, Mrs. Betty Booma. Can you give a shout out and introduce yourself?
Sure. I just really like this because for the people who haven't seen where we're from, this really gives you an idea of the Hudson Valley we love and some of the wonderful times we've had performing. So I have to give a big thanks to my singing partners who have taught me so much over these 34 years.
Yes.
Yes. So thank you very much. And thank you for watching. What a delight.
Yeah. Next up on my screen is Jean. Jean, do you want to give a shout and a little introduction to yourself?
Hi there. I just want to answer one of the questions. Someone asked, how do you find your harmonies? Well, after 34 years together, we've become sort of one organism, one musical organism in some ways. Well, Robert joined us in 2009, but he's a fully fledged boomer now. And he does sing sometimes, but as far as our harmonies go, I don't know, we each have a different ear. We each bring something different. Whoever introduces the song, whoever brings it to the group, just starts singing, and the harmonies just sort of happen most of the time. And if they don't, then we turn to Steve, who gives us some music theory, and we work things out a bit more thematically. But basically, it's just, you cannot imagine the joy of just being one musical organism with these. It's very special for me.
I can vouch that it's watching them put together their harmonies is incredible. They all not only during normal times have a lot of rehearsals at our house, so I grew up getting to hear all of this, but I can tell you that they put together harmonies for Banks of Marble. You know, it would take me days to learn it. I think you guys did it in like 15 minutes. You had it down. So that was incredible. And speaking of the person who pulls out the music theory, the last person on my screen to introduce, Steve Stan.
Hello, everybody. It's really a great experience to sing with these folks. And as Jean said, to sort of know where everybody's going to go. I think one of the things that's unique about the Boomers, if I may say so myself, is that we're not a sister or brother harmony group. We all have very different voices, so that the blend that we get from these 4 or 5 different voices is really pretty unique. Uh, it's not as smooth as the Everly Brothers, but it's our own unique signature, and I really enjoy the mix of sounds that we get out of these 4 very different voices.
Great, thank you. So I did write down a few questions that I saw in the comments. I'll scroll through again. One of them that was answered in the comments, but I want to make sure everyone sees it. You filmed part of your video was actually you filmed it for the Hudson Water Clearwater Revival. Where did you film that video?
That was at the Freer Memorial Park in Port Ewan, New York, just south of Kingston, on the south side of the Rondout Creek. It's a public park. You're welcome to go down there. The easiest way to find it is you're driving north or south on Route 9W into Port Ewan, is to look for signs to the library and turn for the library and head down the hill, and you'll see the road continues beyond the library and down to the water.
Another great Mid-Hudson Library System library there. Where can you take a dip into the Hudson waters? Betty, you might be good at answering this one.
Well,
Yeah, but you got to keep it official, Betty.
I started swimming in the Hudson off the Clearwater when I lived on board 77 and 78, and that was because we had no showers. And I pretty much swim anywhere I can get my toes in the water. Let's see. I do spend some time, I've done a lot of windsurfing out of Kingston Beach. But if there's a way to get to the water, I'm sorry, but I'll be in it. I think just sometimes, even just before we're going to swim, sing, if I can get in, I'll do it. Norrie Point, I believe that was.
Yep.
Because it's so hot, what are you going to do with this heat except go to the water?
Walk down.
There are 3 official swimming beaches that you might visit. Locally, the Kingston Point Beach, City of Kingston Park there has lifeguards and is open. The county, I believe it's open. I should check on that given COVID. The county of Ulster has a beach a little bit further north, up towards Saugerties, near Turkey Point. And then the 3rd official swimming beach is actually a bit more distant down in Croton, New York, at Croton Point Park. There is a beach there with lifeguards for county residents, and probably others too.
Yeah. All right. Do you know anything more about Les Rice and Banks of Marble? Can you talk a little bit more about him, or maybe send people in the right direction to find out more about him?
I wish I could. I learned the song from the singing of Pete Seeger, and he had some references to Les in his book, but really it's all I know is what I've said in the introduction, that he was an apple farmer, very active in the Farmers Union here in Ulster County. I'm not sure what town, but as I commented in the chat, it'd be an interesting research project to go into the Haviland Heidegard historical collection and see if they have anything about Les or some of the other libraries in the Mid-Hudson area and in Ulster County, to see if we can unearth more about this local fellow. The song's sung all over the country. It's really a very well-known Union song.
I believe I've been to their home, and I believe it was in West Park, quite a while ago, years ago.
Lovely.
I first learned about him from his wife when, at probably one of those same gatherings, she was active in the movement.
Oh.
The more you know. And I would like to thank Paul for putting in some images from the Haviland Heidegard Historical Collection. They were really awesome.
Yes. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah.
If you, the cooperage for the apples was actually down on Water Street. If you're looking to orient yourself in New Paltz, that's where you would have found it. And of course, there are more images in the collection. Right now, you have to make an appointment to come in, but one of these days, we're going to be open as usual again, and you can come in and browse historic photos of New Paltz. You can also find some of our historic photos up on a website called New York Heritage. And you'll find not only our pictures, but a number of local historic sites and museums. It's a great resource. I saw you answered in the comments. Can someone talk about who wrote the song called Island Earth? Someone was asking what the title of that song was.
Well, the song was written by a Canadian singer, Paul Cooper. We learned it from Jonathan Edwards, who recorded it on an album. And when he did that song, when he recorded it, he overdubbed himself singing that, Steve. Is that correct? I think I recall that way. He just did different tracks, and that sort of gave us the idea to do a little bit with it. And you could, when we were singing, you noticed some certain parts of it, Gene would be a little bit off the rhythm and come back, and we sort of learned a little bit of that from Jonathan Edwards, who wrote, Sunshine Go Away Today. That's the guy, but it's Paul Cooper, a Canadian, who wrote that.
Yeah, he sang with a group called the Nylons. Matter of fact, I bought their album just to get that song. But yeah, Jonathan Edwards does an amazing job on it. He's such a wonderful singer.
I wanted to say something about that question about the beach access, and one of the things. We've been singing together for years, and the music is what brings us together, and we've missed being able to be together every week to rehearse. But it's also that each of us has been involved in some ways, the preservation of public space, open space. And I guess being a public library and a theme, it's an important theme to us. And yes, there are some beaches, but a lot of good organizations have worked for many years to protect public space and keep the river accessible to people. Trails, walking trails, hiking trails, really important. And we've been able to support that over the years. I just wanted to mention how important that is.
Yeah. I'm going to give people a few more a minute or two. If you have any last questions or comments for the group, you can put them in the chat. While you're doing so, I just want to say that if you enjoyed listening to the Boomers tonight, I know I did. I've been hearing these songs for years now, and I still love hearing them. You can find out more about them and what they're up to on their website, bettyandthebabyboomers.com, or you can find them on Facebook, Betty and the Baby Boomers. You can listen to them on Spotify or Bandcamp. You can purchase their music digitally through Apple Music, or you can contact the Boomers through their website or Facebook to purchase a physical CD. They have 5 of them.
Yes, they still have some of those around. So.
Yes, they're all awesome. I love them. So, I'm a little biased, but they're wonderful. So, all right, if that's...
Margaret?
Yes, Robert.
I want to thank Linda Wells.
Yes, of course, the organizer.
And also John Goralnik again. I mispronounced that really.
Linda Wells, she was our former board president. She's been organizing Music in the Garden for many, many years. Bevan Dungan was also on that committee to help. Our director, John Duralico, helped put this on. I also want to highlight that we are having another concert in this series on August 13th, same time. That will be with David Gonzalez, and he's bringing something totally different, and now for something completely different, but it's going to be just as wonderful as this. So we're really excited to bring that to you. More information to come.
And thank you, Margaret. Thank you, Margaret, for being such a great MC.
No problem. It's easy when I've known you for... How old am I now? 26? And thank you again to our sponsors of this year's Music in the Garden, Arts Mid-Hudson, Stewart's, Salisbury's Bank Riverside, and First Care Medical Center in Highland. We wouldn't be able to do it without them. So thank you to everyone for joining in. I believe the concert is going to be available for a brief period of time on the Boomers page, Paul.
Yeah, we'll put the link to the stream, the live stream that was happening, and we did have about 14 or 15 people watching it on the live stream. Make it available for people to watch again if they'd like.
Yeah, I think we're going to leave that up for about 2 weeks until the next Music in the Garden. And of course, you can find more music from the Boomers on their YouTube page as well. So thank you
all. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you.
Yes, thank everybody. Thank you all.
Bye, everybody.
Stay healthy.